we got a new concept to
Oh,
introduce to football fans, analysts, teams. It's the dread factor.
the dread
You've heard of
factor.
the X factor. This is the dread factor. Do you want to hear? Do you want to explain where we came up with this?
Yes, I would. I would like to. Um, there are three people I primarily learned football from: Bill Walsh, Fred Van Appen, and my friend Tom Walsh, who won a Super Bowl with the Raiders as their offensive coordinator. Although Al, of course, never gave him that title. And I talked to him. Iggy does as well. And I was chatting with him about a week ago, and he said, he's so smart, and he used the word dread. He said, on your roster, you need players that the other team dreads. And because they have to, they don't know what's going to happen on any play. And they have to devote so much attention to that one player, and it helps a lot of other players. So I think we understand what dread is in a player, but what I would like to do with Iggy is, in the four teams remaining, let's name their dread players. And remember, dread is the highest praise. We could also name some dread players who've been eliminated, and then talk about the Niners, who are their dread players. So, Iggy, why don't you go? Why don't you name some teams that are left and say who their dread players are?
Well, the Eagles right now, they have Saquon Barkley, who's having as good of a year as any running back ever. I think no one wants to face him right now. They also have a second-year defensive tackle in Jalen Carter, who kind of just sealed the game against the Rams with the sack against Stafford late. He's pretty tough to block. I'd say he's a dread player. Um, those two guys are pretty dreadful
In the best sense.
in the best
Um,
sense.
Awe-inspiring in the best sense,
Yes.
and dreadful. What Barkley did to the Rams, Barkley took them apart.
Mhm.
He took them apart. He got through their defense so fast. The Rams were not prepared for that twice.
Mhm.
And if they didn't have Barkley, the Rams actually could have won that game. They scored
Mhm.
enough points. You take away Barkley's, 14 points, 12 plus the two PATs. The Rams win that game.
Mhm.
So that's how much dread he brings and he brought to that game. Name another team.
Staying in the NFC, the other team in the NFC Championship game, Jaden Daniels is becoming a dread player. He's just so well-rounded. He can do a little bit of everything. He seems really tough to beat. He doesn't turn the ball over. He goes through his progressions really efficiently. He makes quick decisions. He scrambles. He's fast. He can throw deep. He can throw short. Um, Teams don't really know how to stop him right now. He's dreadful.
He's dreadful.
Yeah.
Okay. AFC.
AFC. Josh Allen.
Oh,
Josh
God.
Allen. I mean, he's great. He doesn't have like a dominant weapon around him. And so when they get close to the goal line, 10 yards away, he just starts running between the tackles, outside the tackles. Like, you can't stop him. He's incredible.
Iggy, he may be the top 1, 2, or 3 dreaded player in the league right
Yes.
now, Josh Allen.
Yes.
Okay. Kansas City.
Well, clearly Patrick Mahomes. Also, I think Travis Kelce in the playoffs. He's incredible. And their defensive tackle, Chris Jones, ends games for them. Those three guys are their dread
Okay.
players for sure.
Let's name other noted dread players in the league. I would start with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, the two of them.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
combo. I mean, that's a wonderful team, and that was a great game. Neither team, well, I'm saying, of course, the Ravens are crushed that they lost, but I don't think they should be embarrassed. They almost won the game. Poor guy dropped the pass, and they're really good, and they will be good for a while. Derrick Henry's getting a little older, but those are two dread players, for sure. Um, okay, other dread
Jahmyr
players.
Gibbs on the running back for the Lions. He's so good. Anytime he gets the ball, if I were the other team, I'd be thinking, "Oh crap! I hope he doesn't go for a touchdown." He's terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
Okay, let's
Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, those guys.
Nakua is a dread player.
Yeah.
A team dreads to face him. He's so good, and
Yeah.
he's strong.
Yeah. He's so tough. He's really
Yeah.
freaking good. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the Niners.
Mm.
Here are two categories on the Niners: current dread players and dread players in the recent past. Let's start with current. Name some current dread players on the 49ers.
Well, George Kittle. George
No
Kittle
question.
is as consistent as any player in the league, and no one really has a player who can cover him. No
Yeah.
linebacker, no safety. He's probably the biggest matchup problem in football.
Yeah. So any team that faces the Niners has to dread facing Kittle.
Right.
Anybody else?
I think a lot of teams dread facing Nick Bosa. He's
Yeah.
not the best edge rusher, but he's probably one of the top 5 or 6, and he's very good. And if you're missing a starting offensive tackle that week, or one of your offensive tackles isn't that good, Bosa will wear him out.
Okay. Clearly a dread player, and you got to account for him.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Fred Warner. He played through a broken ankle most of the season, but he most of the time makes it so you can't throw over the middle on the Niners, which is pretty unique.
Okay. So they have currently 3 dread players.
And there's one more. Jake Moody. The Niners really dread him.
I didn't expect that. Yeah, the Niners dread him, not other teams.
No,
they're
hoping Jake Moody takes the field.
He has self-dread in that case.
Yes.
Okay.
Self-dread.
Formerly dread players. Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah. Hell yes. Great call.
Hell yeah. Now, what I say formally, he may be a future dread player, but I can't count them now. And there's others. I can't count him now because we don't know who he's going to be. He got hurt again when he came back. Another dread player, and probably the biggest one, was McCaffrey. When he was good, for the short period he was good with the Niners, wow, what a player. I mean, what a player, and what a pleasure to watch. I'm just afraid he may not ever be him again.
Yeah. And let's talk about the type of dread that he inspired in the other teams. I mean, dread's the perfect word because I almost feel like people overreacted to Christian McCaffrey. You had all these players on the field, and teams were double covering him as a receiver. Like, he's running swing routes. He's behind the line of scrimmage. And teams were like, oh, you take him if he goes that way, and I'll take him if he goes that way. It's like Brandon Ayuk is destroying you one-on-one, 20 yards down the field, and teams are like, we got to live with that because if Christian McCaffrey, God forbid, catches a check down pass, we're screwed. I've never seen a running back elicit that type of respect and fear and dread running tiny little routes than him. It's incredible.
And Iggy, he deserved it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, I would love to see him return to being Christian McCaffrey because I love to watch him work. But I'm not a doctor. I figure he has a 50-50 chance, Iggy, with his hams, his Achilles, both of them, and then with that knee injury. He's just beginning to get hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid that he's not dreadful anymore, but I want him to be because it's one of my pleasures to watch him play.
Yeah, his season and a half with the Niners was one of the most incredible stretches of any Niner ever. I'm just afraid that he's about to be 29. He's a running back. He's had a lot of wear and tear. He might be at that stage where if it's not one thing, it's the next.
That's what I'm a little afraid of. Are there any potential dread players I'm leaving out?
Well, Charvarius Ward was one a couple of years ago when Steve Wilkes was here. He wasn't this year. We know why. He probably isn't coming back. He has an opportunity to be one again in his career, but probably won't be one for the Niners.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Talanoa Hufanga had moments. He was an all-pro a couple of years ago. He's another guy who's been injured a lot, and he'll be a free agent. He's had dread moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to point something out about dread. The Niners have 2 players on offense that they seem to insist on keeping and playing, Juszczyk and Samuel. Neither one inspires dread.
No.
So when you play against them, when a defense plays against them, you want 11 guys, and you want the skill players to be dreadful. Mm-hmm. Well, you're eliminating dread in 2 positions right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
They start. So as opposed to X number of potential dread players, you've got X minus 2 with them.
Yes.
That's hard.
Evo was like 3 years ago, but he's not anymore.
He's done. He's cooked. And Juszczyk I'm sorry. The Niners have not kept up with the trends in football Bill Walsh would have. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
He's a fullback. It's an anachronism. It's a throwback. So you have X minus 2 potential dread players. And again, another one, Brandon Ayuk never was a dread player. He was a very good player.
Yeah.
But he never was a dread player.
I would argue that the reason he was so good is that people didn't dread him and they kind of took him lightly.
I would agree with you.
You know what I mean?
100%, especially when he had CMC on the team.
Yes.
So, and when, in addition, so he will not bring dread back. He'll bring goodness.
Yes.
But again, who's he going to be?
Right.
He really hurt himself.
Best case scenario, he'll bring goodness.
But he won't bring dreadness.
No, he won't. Juwan Jennings, another very good player who doesn't really bring dread.
Yeah.
You know who does? I think Jordan Mason does. He's a handful to tackle. He's tough.
Yeah. Hey, Iggy. Again, we'll see who he is when he comes back.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Early in the season, he was a dread player. And apparently Shanahan, who has no concept of dread, benched him when the other guy came back. It's among his football sins. That was, first of all, humiliating the guy, and he was good, and then overusing McCaffrey. It was just so bad what he did. I would like to talk. I'm sorry.
Is Trent Williams a dread player?
Not anymore.
I don't think so either.
Here's why. He may be very good when he's in there, and I'm not good on offensive line play, but he's not in there a lot. And what makes you think next season he'll be in there a lot?
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
I think Bill would have traded him 2 seasons ago.
Agree.
No, he's not a dread player. I want to give you an example of ultimate dread. Jerry Rice. Oh. I mean,
like defensive backs are like losing sleep during the week, knowing I got to face this guy. He's gonna put me out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Montana.
Yeah. Bo Jackson.
Oh, Bo Jackson. I mean, this is dread.
Barry Sanders.
Right?
Yeah.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you another one that he's on a crummy team. Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Hell
Iggy. Yeah. He's dreadful.
He's incredible. He's really good.
Yeah. These are so what we're not defining dread. We're giving examples of dread, and I think you know what we mean. Okay, can we?
Randy
keep going?
Moss at his best, T.O. at his best. I mean, those guys
T.O.
would. I mean, one play.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm lousing.
Ronnie Lott hurt you.
Hurt you, and I think guys before the game were like when you would fight Mike Tyson early on in his career. Ronnie I think they were nervous facing Ronnie.
Yep.
Ronnie
I wish I had seen the Ronnie Lott era. I missed the whole thing.
Did I ever introduce you to Ronnie Lott?
No. I thought you loved me.
But we were at that dinner for Carmen Policy that night. Ronnie and I met and we hugged. I didn't introduce you?
I don't think so. You introduced me to Jerry Rice, who I'd met when I was 7, and you introduced me to Eddie, who I'd interviewed over the phone. He was cool. Like
Eddie was nice. Eddie was nice.
Yeah. Anyway. So the Niners got 3. CMC's a potential 4th, although
50-50.